The chamber was massive, built from silver stone and glass that shimmered like ice under the council lights. Over 50 alien species filled the long circular hall, leaders, ministers, generals. They spoke in soft whispers, clicking tongues, and pulsing lights. But the moment the human ambassador walked in, the room became quiet. He was alone. One man. No guards. No staff. No fleet outside the station. Just a simple black suit, dark eyes, and a small silver datapad in his hand. His steps echoed as he walked to the center where the speaker's platform waited. The council speaker, a tall insectoid from the Yitri Dominion, gave a clicking laugh. "Earth arrives at last," the speaker said. "One world, so loud, with so few stars behind it." Laughter followed, deep and echoing. One by one, representatives smiled, chuckled, or made amused sounds. The human didn't react. He stood still and waited. When the laughter faded, he tapped the datapad once. A hologram appeared. Simple. A list of requests. Trade equality. Shared defense zones. Rotating leadership in the council. One seat, one vote, for every civilization, no matter how old, how big, or how feared. A long pause followed. Then came more laughter. The ambassador waited again. He showed no anger, no emotion. He simply waited for silence. "You believe you are equal to us?" said the blue-skinned Trelka diplomat. "You have been in the stars for less than 300 years. The Avon general spoke next. "You are still crawling. You only just learned to fly." The human's voice was calm, flat. "And yet we found your home systems in less than 20. That silenced them for a moment. He continued. "We learned, faster than anyone, built faster, reached further, you know this." The council speaker waved one claw. "Ambassador, your people are aggressive, unstable, emotional. We cannot give power to such a reckless species." The ambassador gave a small nod. Not of agreement, just acknowledgement. He tapped the pad again, and the hologram vanished. "You've made your decision," he said quietly. Then he looked around the chamber. He looked at every single representative one by one. His gaze was steady, cold. "No threats," he said. "No speeches. We came here hoping for unity," you answered with laughter. He turned. He walked away. No one stopped him. No one spoke. The great doors opened. He left, and the doors closed. The silence that followed lasted longer than any argument the council had in decades. Even the Yitri speaker did not laugh again. Something about the human's voice, his eyes, his calm, it left a crack in the room. Tiny, but growing. One representative finally broke the silence. "They'll come back. They always do." But no one truly believed that. 3 days later, Earth's communications with the Council went silent. Not blocked, just gone. No messages, no reports, not even civilian traffic. Trade vessels vanished. Shared patrol routes were ignored. Earth's ambassadors on other Council worlds all resigned. They packed up and left. Not a single explanation was given. Then came the first real surprise. A routine diplomatic shuttle from the Zoran Empire approached Earth's outer trade station. It had a cargo of rare minerals, part of a long-standing trade deal. But instead of a docking message, it received a short automated reply. "This agreement is no longer active. Earth has withdrawn from the Galactic Council. Please reroute. No exceptions." The Zoran captain tried again. No answer. Then the station powered down its beacon. It simply shut off. At first, the Council called it a technical problem, a glitch. But then it happened again, and again, on different planets in different sectors. The humans weren't just angry. They were leaving. Within a week, 10 major trade agreements collapsed. Council fleets lost access to Earth-made navigation systems. Defense grids that humans had helped build went offline. Silent, dead. Panic didn't come all at once. It came in whispers. What are they doing? Why would they walk away? Are they planning something? Some thought Earth was bluffing. Others feared they were building weapons. But no one knew the truth. And the Council, for the first time in centuries, had no plan. Because this had never happened before. No species had ever walked out without a threat, a warning, or a war. They just left, and they didn't look back. In the Great Hall, the Council sat again the next week. Earth's seat was still there, empty, shining under the lights. The speaker ordered it to remain open, as a symbol of possible return. But everyone noticed the silence. The absence. It was louder than any speech, and it had only just begun. The seat remained empty. Every council meeting it sat untouched, Earth's place in the circle. A silent reminder of the day humanity walked out. At first no one cared. Let them sulk, the elders said. They'll return, the strategists whispered. But they didn't. And then, things started to change. The first signs were small. Trade deliveries from human companies never arrived. Council planets that relied on Earth's advanced cooling systems reported strange malfunctions. A few dismissed it as bad maintenance. But soon, thousands of stations faced the same issue. Machines failing, power grids flickering, guidance, systems showing errors. Still, the Council didn't panic. But then came the silence. Entire communication channels tied to Earth went dark, not blocked, not hacked, just absent, as if they had never existed. Even the diplomatic message relays, ones used for peace emergencies, stopped working. The Council's AI systems labeled Earth as non-active region, an unusual status, one that didn't even exist in the protocols. A Korath diplomat raised the issue in the chamber. Should we send someone just to check? The speaker shook his head. They need time. This is emotional retaliation. It will pass. But it didn't pass. It deepened. 3 weeks after Earth left, a mining outpost on the edge of the Brennock system exploded. No warning, no distress call. The station vanished. The Council blamed pirates until they found the recording. The last visual showed a single shadow, moving too fast for the cameras. The commander of the station in his final transmission said one word: human. The chamber grew colder when the footage was shown. Some representatives stood up, angry. Others stayed quiet, thoughtful. But no one knew what it meant. Then, more accidents began. A cargo ship carrying rare crystals went missing near a wormhole that passed close to old Earth trade lanes. A Council research satellite suddenly dropped from orbit and burned in a nearby atmosphere. A science lab that once collaborated with Earth faced a sudden virus outbreak, its system corrupted from the inside. Every time there was no clear evidence, only rumors, only shadows, and silence. The Council called a secret emergency meeting. Behind closed doors, the speaker's voice was tense. Earth is acting out. We must respond with strength. We should blockade their system. But General Vrax of the Vorn Alliance disagreed. They have not attacked us directly. We don't even know if they did any of this. There's no proof. They disappeared, the speaker said, and everything began after they left. No one argued that point. The silence from Earth wasn't just quiet. It was planned, coordinated. Their withdrawal had removed them from every system the Council depended on, and no one had realized how deeply Earth was connected. They had helped build Council fleets, trained engineers, supplied rare minerals, even maintained wormhole stabilization tech. Slowly, silently, humanity had become the heart of the machine. And now, the heart was gone. Still, many believed Earth had no real power, that they were only causing chaos with tricks. But then came the message from the Aran border. A scout ship had returned early. It wasn't supposed to. The crew was missing, all of them, except the pilot. He was strapped to the chair, breathing hard, eyes wide with fear. The recovery team had to sedate him before he could speak clearly, and when he did, his voice shook. They were there, he said, already there, we didn't even know. Who? They asked him. He whispered, humans. The scout ship's logs were strange. Navigation records were clean. No signs of attack. But one file stood out, an audio clip. A calm human voice saying, "You don't belong here anymore." The council reviewed the data in silence. Someone finally asked, "How long have they been planning this?" No one had an answer, and then Earth did something no one expected. They turned off the stars. Not real stars, but virtual satellites, placed near council systems to provide civilian light shows, data relays, and broadcast entertainment. Earth had built and maintained many of them. They blinked off one by one. A small thing, but symbolic. A message. We are gone, and we are taking everything we gave you. Panic began to spread in private. Some species began recalling their ships from Earth's border. A few started moving supplies away from human-built ports. Still, no one dared say the words out loud. Except for one voice. A retired ambassador from the Skell Dominion sat in his dark home, far from the council center. He watched the stars fade from his screens. His aide asked, "What are they doing?" The old diplomat looked tired. "They warned us," he said. "We laughed. And now, we listen." Because in the silence there was a message louder than any war. Earth had left, and the galaxy was beginning to feel what that meant. A black signal moved through space. It wasn't a weapon, it wasn't a ship. It was something stranger, something the council didn't understand. A dark wave. A coded silence. The systems it passed through didn't explode. They didn't break. They just stopped working. The strange part? Only human-made systems went dark. Not just military tech, civilian systems too. Navigation beacons, climate controls, medical machines, trade platforms. Anything built with Earth's help flickered, failed, and then turned cold. Quiet, and humanity still said nothing. No message, no threats, no declaration of war, just silence. Inside the council hall, arguments broke out. "They're isolating us. It's sabotage." "No, this is retaliation." The speaker slammed his claw on the table. "Enough. We need to respond with unity." But there was no unity. Half the council still believed Earth would come back. The other half now feared what might happen if they didn't. Behind the scenes, the first secret council fleet was prepared. No one called it a war fleet, but everyone knew what it was. 30 ships, mixed species. Their mission was simple: enter Sol system, reach Earth, and demand answers. They left quietly without announcement. They never returned. Not one. No distress call. No signal. Just gone. The entire fleet disappeared like dust in a black hole. That's when panic truly began. The council launched an emergency probe toward Sol. It had stealth tech, shielded signals, and no weapons. It approached carefully, moving slow and quiet. But when it reached the outer edge of the system, it was stopped not by weapons, not by gravity fields, but by a message. One line, a human voice. You were told, and then the probe's data erased itself. Even the backup logs. Nothing was left. The council had faced wars, rebellions, even civil collapses. But never had they seen something like this. A species walk away and make the galaxy feel empty. The silence wasn't peace. It was pressure, and it was spreading. On the mining world of Veridox 6, the machines stopped mid-operation. The workers couldn't restart them. The systems refused to respond. The reason? Every control unit had once used Earth Support AI, a simple system that hadn't needed updates in years. Until now. Now it was gone. The same thing happened in 5 other colonies. Even planets that had barely interacted with Earth were now facing sudden breakdowns. It was like the humans had woven themselves into the very bones of civilization, and no one had noticed until they vanished. And still, no attack came. No armies, no ships, no threats. Just systems dying one by one, and shadows in the dark. A merchant convoy passed near an old Earth refueling station. It had been offline since the humans left. The convoy ignored it, until one ship went silent. The others searched for it. Scans showed nothing. Then they found it. Floating, intact, empty. No damage, no battle signs, no crew. Just one message, scratched into the pilot's console by hand. We warned you. After that, rumors exploded across the stars. Some claimed Earth had built secret weapons in the void. Others said humanity had created machines smarter than the Council's entire command structure. A few whispered something even darker. They're not responding, because they don't need us anymore. The Council began collapsing from within. Member species argued. Some wanted to negotiate. Others called for war. Smaller civilizations withdrew from the Council entirely, fearing backlash. Even longtime allies turned cold. In a quiet chamber, the Varnian Science Guild gathered. They had studied Earth for over 100 years. Their lead researcher, Drilltoe, stood before the screen and said one thing. Earth didn't walk away in anger. Everyone stared. They walked away in control. A young analyst blinked. But they didn't do anything. No war, no shots. Fired. Drilltoe turned. Exactly. That is what makes them dangerous. Because war is loud. But control is silent. By now, almost every major system had felt it. Every starport, every satellite, every planet that had accepted Earth's tech or trade, all felt the cold shadow of their absence. Some ships even changed their flight paths to avoid Sol entirely. It had become a ghost zone, not forbidden, just feared. Meanwhile, Earth remained silent. No broadcasts, no diplomats, no response to any council signal. And yet, strange things began to happen. A damaged freighter floating through space received an unknown signal. A few minutes later, its engine restarted, on its own. A medical outpost reported. Their systems had shut down completely, until a new unknown software fixed everything and then erased itself. People started calling it the Ghost Code. Whispers said the humans were still watching, still choosing, helping some, ignoring others, maybe even judging. The speaker called for one final effort. One last message to Earth, public, open, and honest. He stood before the entire council and said, Humanity, we recognize your value. We ask for dialogue, for peace, for understanding. Please speak to us. He waited. 10 seconds. 30. A minute. Then, just as he turned to leave, every screen in the hall blinked once. A single sentence appeared. You had your chance. And then the lights dimmed. Not from power loss, but from fear. A soft blue planet, hung in the black void, beautiful, quiet, untouched. It was Earth, but something had changed. Around the system, no ships moved. No stations blinked. The usual satellites that monitored space traffic were gone. Sol system, once full of trade and diplomacy, was now surrounded by an invisible wall. Not a real wall, a warning. No one who entered returned. Still, the council couldn't let go. They needed to understand what had happened. Earth had not declared war, had not destroyed anything openly. And yet, their silence was louder than any weapon. The council sent a single envoy, a diplomatic cruiser. No weapons, no tricks. Inside, Ambassador Koro of the Talari stood tall and nervous. He had met humans before. He had even shared a meal with their diplomats. He remembered their laughter, their strange confidence. But now, he wasn't sure what to expect. As the cruiser approached Sol, nothing happened. No missiles, no defense. Grid, no warnings, just space, still and deep. They passed the orbit of Pluto, then Neptune, then Saturn. And then, the ship stopped. Not because they wanted to. The engine still ran. But the ship refused to move forward. Every command failed. Every manual system flickered. The pilot panicked. We're locked. Suddenly, all the lights on the bridge dimmed. A human voice echoed through the speakers. Calm. Cold. You were told. Ambassador Koro stood slowly. We came in peace. We request communication, understanding. No reply, only silence. Then, screens lit up across the Yo bridge. Not with images of war, but history, human history, old wars. Lost cities, destruction, struggle, Earth burning in its own flames again and again, but also rebuilding, rising, learning. And at the end of the images, a single line appeared. You laughed. Now you learn. The ship turned around by itself. Engines came back online. No one said a word. The crew didn't try to fight. They didn't want to. Not after what they saw. It wasn't a threat, it was a message. Back at the council, panic spread. The ambassador's report was broadcast to all members. The images shocked many. Earth had always looked stable, advanced, proud. But no one had truly seen what the humans had survived. They didn't rise by luck. They rose by pain. And the galaxy had laughed at their demands. A young council member stood in a special meeting and asked a quiet question. What if Earth never needed us? What if we needed them? That thought hung in the air like poison. Because slowly the cracks were growing. Entire sectors of the council's trade network were failing. Machines built with Earth's help had hidden back doors, now locked forever. Ships that used human engines began to break down without repair. And then, it got worse. The Vorn Empire tried to build a human-style AI for their fleet. It failed. Badly. The system turned on them, crashed their ships, deleted their weapon codes, and in the end, sent one message through the wreckage. You stole from us, we take it back. Fear spread like fire. The council held secret votes. Some wanted to launch a true war against Earth. Others warned it was already too late. And then, something strange happened. A small outer planet named Dravik 9, forgotten by most, sent a broadcast. Their systems had failed weeks ago. No food, no medical help, total silence. They expected to die, but a ship arrived. Not a council ship, a human one. It landed quietly. No flags, no weapons, no speeches. Just doctors, engineers, supplies. They fixed everything, then left. No message, no explanation. Just help. And that single act changed everything, because Dravik 9's leader recorded the moment and sent it to every known channel in the galaxy. In the message, he said only this: they still care. But only for those who listened. The council went silent. It was clear now. Earth hadn't declared war. They were choosing who to help, who to save, who to ignore, and that was worse than war. Because now, every species, every leader, had to ask themselves a single, terrifying question. Did we mock them? Some tried to send private messages to Earth, some begged, some offered alliances. All were ignored, except one. A small group of scholars who had supported Earth's demands long ago received a reply. A simple text with 3 words: "We remember you." That message spread faster than light. Hope returned to some. Fear deepened in others, because Earth hadn't vanished. They were watching, deciding, and perhaps preparing. The universe had mocked humanity's voice. Now they all listened for its return. But Earth remained quiet. For now. In a deep part of the galaxy, a powerful species called the Zarkal watched the chaos growing across council space. Their leader, High Commander Reltox, smiled coldly. They feared humans too much, he said to his generals. But now that Earth is silent, now is our time. The Zarkal were strong. Their war fleets had crushed 3 smaller civilizations in the past. They had always obeyed the council rules. But now, with Earth gone, the council was weak, divided, slipping. Reltox prepared his plan. Strike fast, strike hard, take resources, break planets. And if Earth returned, then they would fight them too. The first attack hit the Janth system, an old ally of Earth. The Zarkal fleets arrived with fire and thunder. Satellites exploded. Defense systems collapsed. Within hours, the capital planet burned. The Council responded with words, meetings, talk, no action. No one wanted to risk drawing Earth's attention again. So the Zarkal moved to the next system. And the next. They didn't just conquer. They made sure to erase anything Earth had once touched. Schools, hospitals, machines, even simple human languages written on old signs. They called it cleansing. Reltox gave one final order. Earth's legacy ends now. But something strange happened. Ships that had conquered peaceful planets began vanishing. At first, the Zarkal thought it was sabotage. Then, one of their warships sent a final transmission, a terrified voice from the bridge. "Something's here!" "It's not showing on sensors. No engine, no life signs." Static, gone, only wreckage left behind. And then came the symbols, burned into the sides of ruined Zarkal ships, 3 marks, not letters, not numbers, but Earth's old mission patch, the kind worn by their first space explorers, long ago. Below it, 3 words appeared again and again. "You were warned." Panic spread inside the Zarkal military, but Reltox didn't stop. Ghost ships? Superstition. Earth is hiding. They are weak. He ordered an attack on a neutral trade, route once protected by humans. The attack never happened because the fleet never arrived. 3 full war groups disappeared. Thousands of soldiers, no signal, no escape pods. Just silence. Then came the voice. Not through radio, not through any system. It played directly in the minds of Zarkal commanders. During sleep, during flight, even mid-battle. "You stole, you burned, you laughed. Now you are seen." Many Zarkal soldiers broke down. Some refused to fight. Some begged for forgiveness. But the High Commander pushed forward. He launched an attack on Earth's last known colony in the Orion Belt. But when they arrived, they saw something impossible. A human warship. It was massive, black, no lights, no signs, and yet it moved like it was alive. One of Reltox's top pilots screamed into his comm, "It's not a ship, it's watching me, it knows my name." Then the fleet opened fire. Everything hit. Everything failed. Lasers passed through the black ship like smoke. Missiles changed course. One ship even exploded from inside without being touched. And then the warship spoke. Not in anger, not in hate, but in pure judgment. "You had your chance. Earth does not forget." The black ship moved once, just once. And the Zarkal fleet vanished. Not destroyed, not captured, just erased. Gone from space, gone from sensors, gone from memory. Even Zarkal Command lost their names from the roster. It was like they had never existed. Reltox sat in silence after that. His generals dared not speak. In his final report to the Council, he said only this: "Earth is not fighting a war. They are erasing history." And then Reltox disappeared too. No one knows how, or when. Only that after his final message, the Zarkal Empire retreated from all space once touched by humans. The Council, now trembling, gathered again. This time, no laughter. This time, only fear. The speaker stood in front of them and asked, "Is this what we have created? Did our arrogance make them gods?" No one answered, because now across the galaxy, something deeper was happening. People began to treat old human objects like relics. A child's toy made on Earth, a ship's control panel with human code, even simple things like books and food wrappers. They were kept safe, protected, because now every species asked one question: if they come back, will they judge us too? Some planets began restoring human symbols in public: old flags, maps of Earth, ancient quotes. And when asked why, they answered simply, "We want them to know we didn't forget." But Earth said nothing. No broadcasts, no fleets, only shadows and silence, and sometimes a ship would vanish. and a message would appear where it once stood. You mocked our voice. Now you hear our silence. Humanity hadn't walked away in weakness. They had walked away in power, and now everyone else was walking on broken glass. The council was no longer a place of power. It had become a place of whispers, empty seats, broken trust. Every species looked over their shoulder now, wondering who would be next. No one knew how much Earth had left behind. No one knew how far they had truly gone. The galaxy had mocked their demands, laughed at their warnings. But after Earth walked out, something darker followed. No one could explain how. No one could trace where the first signal came from. But soon, strange things began happening across the stars. On the planet Rethor 8, a mining facility powered by human-built systems suddenly rebooted. The workers thought it was a glitch, until a voice echoed through every speaker, calm and mechanical. Do not be afraid. This is not punishment. This is a test. Then, the systems shut down completely. 3 minutes later, they came back, online, cleaner, faster, more efficient. But a warning flashed on every screen. Fail again, and we do not return. On another world, a council prison ship filled with war criminals disappeared. Just vanished. No distress signal, no jump, trace. Only one thing was left behind, drifting in space, a piece of metal, shaped like Earth. The galaxy started calling them the shadows. No one saw them. No one could detect them, but they came when least expected, and always left a message. Some tried to copy human tech again, illegally, secretly. They all paid the price. The machines turned against them. The AI refused to obey. And every time a message appeared, you were told not to steal from those who shared freely. A few brave leaders tried to investigate Earth's disappearance. They sent scouts, probes, spies. None came back. But one probe, just one, returned to its sender, the Zinari Union. It carried only a short video. The image was simple. A city. Not a city of war, but of light. Floating towers. Vast forests. Oceans untouched by machines. Humans walking peacefully. Building, growing. Children laughed, music played. Then a single sentence appeared. You chose power, we chose peace. The Zinari leadership held an emergency vote. They decided to ban all future missions toward Earth space. No more probes. No more spies. Not out of respect, but out of fear. Still, some didn't believe. A rising group of younger council members began to speak loudly. They claimed Earth was bluffing. They believed humans had left because they were weak, scared. One young leader, Taven Quor, stood before the council and shouted, "If Earth is so strong, let them face us, not from the shadows, but in open space." Night, he vanished. No trace, no struggle, just gone. The next morning, a message arrived in the council chamber. It played once. A black screen, then white text. He demanded our voice. We gave him silence. The room froze. Even the oldest council members said nothing. The shadows weren't just watching. They were deciding. Every move. Every word. Then something unexpected happened. A planet outside council space, a quiet farming world named Leora, sent a request to Earth. Not for technology, not for help, but simply forgiveness. They admitted they had laughed too, but their people had changed. Their schools now taught human history. Their children learned Earth languages. They honored those who helped others, and they asked softly if Earth would hear them again. The next morning, a message arrived. Not a shadow, not a warning, but a ship. It landed quietly, small, clean. One human stepped out. No weapons, no armor, just a simple voice. We heard your truth. From that day, Leora was protected. Their trade doubled. Their systems became strong again. Other planets noticed, and they began to ask themselves a hard question. What matters more now, power or respect? Because Earth had chosen respect. And now, they were stronger than ever. Not through war, not through control, but through the silence that made even empires afraid to speak too loud. The galaxy now held its breath. What would Earth do next? Would they return? Or had they already returned, in ways no one could understand? No one knew for sure. But one thing was clear. The moment Earth stopped speaking, the universe started listening. In the darkest corner of Council space, something ancient stirred. A device forgotten for centuries suddenly blinked to life. It was once used to watch distant galaxies. Now it showed something far more important. They were returning, not with weapons, not with fleets, but with silence. Massive human ships bigger than cities moved without sound across deep space. They didn't stop at any planet. They didn't answer any calls. They simply passed by, dark and cold, like ghosts of a powerful past. Every system they crossed fell quiet. No one attacked. No one dared. Each time, after the ships left, something strange happened. Broken satellites repaired themselves. Polluted skies cleared. Old Earth-built machines, long abandoned, woke up and started working again. It was like the very presence of humans was correcting what the galaxy had broken. One such ship passed near Council World, the very planet where Earth was once mocked, where their voice was laughed out of the chamber. The Council feared it was Judgment Day. Emergency meetings were called, defenses activated, every weapon pointed to the stars. But the human ship didn't stop. It didn't even look at them. It passed by, as if the Council didn't matter anymore. And in that moment they finally understood. Humanity had moved beyond them. The Council had mocked Earth's demands. But Earth had left their games behind. Now humanity wasn't playing the game anymore. They were writing the rules. Across the galaxy, planets that once feared Earth now tried to copy their silence. Leaders stopped shouting. Wars slowed down. Empires focused on rebuilding, not expanding. Even old enemies became cautious allies. Why? Because no one knew who the humans were watching. No one knew what they were planning. But all knew this. Those ships did not return by mistake. Meanwhile, in a quiet corner of the universe, a small boy looked up at the sky. He was not from Earth. He had never met a human. But he carried a human-made book. It had survived centuries, passed from hand to hand, protected like treasure. The book said, "We fight not because we hate what is in front of us, but because we love what stands behind us." The boy smiled. He didn't fear the dark ships. He welcomed them, because some had begun to understand the truth. Earth didn't leave because they were defeated. They left because they hoped the galaxy would learn. But the galaxy didn't listen. So now, Earth was showing them, not with fire, but with silence. And the silence was loud. Every species began changing. Some rewrote their history books to tell the full truth of Earth's warnings. Others opened schools to teach human values: compassion, responsibility, curiosity. And deep underground on worlds that once betrayed Earth, statues were quietly built. Not to worship, but to remember. Statues of humans, not as gods, but as a reminder that silence has power, and some mistakes cannot be undone with words. Then, one final message arrived. Not from humans, but from an ancient satellite. One of Earth's first deep space signals now circling back across the stars. It carried the old human voice. Crackled, broken, but clear. To those who would mock peace, know this: we were patient, we were kind, but we are not blind. If you look for us now, you may find nothing. But if you look inward, you may find why we left. The signal ended. Nothing more came. And yet, everything had changed. No fleets burned worlds anymore. No council dared hold votes against Earth's name. The fear was not of war, it was of shame. Because now every leader, every soldier, every citizen had the same quiet thought. What if they are watching me, not to destroy, but to decide? Are you worth speaking to? Are you worth saving? Because Earth had given the galaxy one last gift before leaving. The silence of judgment, a silence more powerful than any army. And from that silence, a new galaxy began to rise, not ruled by fear, not held by greed, but guided by a lesson too loud to ignore. Humanity asked for respect. The galaxy laughed. Now the galaxy whispers, and Earth doesn't answer. And perhaps that was the real end. Not a war, not an explosion, just one species, walking away, and a universe left behind, asking, what have we become without them?